Welcome back to another Syndicate Motorsport Saturday night racing session here with me, Pirate Lazebeam, doing the commentary for our 6th round in the Syndicate Motorsport DTM 90s League. We're here back in Germany for this round at a aerodrome circuit called Wunstorf, and this is one of the kind of temporary airfield tracks which were used for the series between 1964 and 1988. But it was actually only used for the German touring cars between 1984 and 1993. So interesting track. It's going to be a little bit of a speed demon track. There's a few chicanes on this, a few tight turns, but mostly it's just straight pedal to the metal activity. Although big runoffs and opportunities for cars to go wandering off into the distance. Let me just go ahead and set a few things up here with the standings. I'll put those on the screen for you to absorb while I'm just adding some audio settings in. Hey Red, I've switched the TV van out for the 190E, and I'll explain a bit more about that in a moment. But I'm just sorting out the audio because I switched to OBS Studio for the stream, and it's causing me some issues with the audio. So give me 1 second. Let me know, Red, if you can hear the engine noise from the Beamer. Okay, cool. So, let's explain. So, I have added into the stream the capability to redeem channel points to add some extra cameras in. So, you can, for example, redeem the cockpit camera, and it will pop up in the bottom left of the stream there. There's also one for looking out the rear of the car over the rear wing, and there's one for a top-down kind of helicopter view. So if you want to redeem channel points for that, then you can do. Interestingly though, what I realised is that when you're in whatever vehicle that you join the session in dictates where this camera is located in the cars that you're observing, and in the van it made all of the internal cameras basically in the floor well, so you couldn't see anything. So I switched it out for the 190E, so at least it would work. But I'll see if I can work out between streams how to resolve that so we can carry on using the van. Anyway, let's get down to business because we've got a lot to cover here, and we've only got 15 minutes left of qualifying session before we get out there into the first of our 2 races here today. So obviously we are here at the 6th round, and I'll bring the standings back up. So where we are right now in the season is, let me just bring that to the top. There we go. So, after 6 rounds, or after 5 rounds of point scoring, Andrew is very much in the lead with 212 points and consequently 84 kilograms of ballast. We've got Quentin, otherwise known as Red, in 2nd place with 136 points, so quite a big gap between those two. But that does mean that Red is driving with 54 kilograms of ballast compared to Andrew's 84. Next up we've got Michael, who drives the Audi, and then Marju in the Alfa Romeo, and Scatty, I believe, Ash are also in the Alpha. So is Alien, actually. So it's Alpha's all the way down to P8 where Akshik resides, and that's the other teammate to Quentin. And he's driving the BMW as well, of course. 43 points to his name and 17 kilos of ballast. So standings on the screen, as you can see. We've got a pretty tight grouping, and there's a lot to play for in the midfield. But the leadership looks pretty strong here in terms of an Andrew dominance. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit more about the track that we are at today. Unfortunately, by the way, I must note that the attendance for this session is going to be quite light. We've got a lot of people who are away on holidays at the moment. There's a few people who are struggling with heat issues. Some people have had hardware issues as well. A few people have lost their ability to get online at all, which is a bit of a shame. I think we might have 10 drivers today out of our grid. Normally we have like 22 drivers in the session, so unfortunately it's going to be a bit light today, but we'll make the most of it anyway. Anyway, so this circuit is, as I mentioned earlier on, it's an aerodrome or an airport basically. It's a temporary circuit which was used for a few years between 1984 and 93, I think it was, for the DTM racing. One of many such layouts in the season at that time, and what you can see is that it's effectively driving around the oh, cars are a bit loud, let me tone them down then. Let me know if that's better. How kind, Red, how kind. Hopefully that's reduced the cars down a little bit. I'll just tweak that a little bit more as well. Let me know if that's more suitable. So yeah, the circuit is the runway. It's the taxiways and so on, and they've added a few chicanes on. If anyone who watched Top Gear, it was a little bit kind of the same idea of driving around the Top Gear test track, but this one is actually a lot longer straights, so there's quite a lot of foot to the floor moments coming your way. I'll just go on board with Akshik, so you can see here, driving down the runway, it's a little bit of a drag race into the cone area. And then you've got the option to go into the pits here, but that's what Akshik's doing right now. Actually, no, sorry, the pits are to the left. So he's now going through the main straight. I'm actually just going to go ahead and tweak the post-processing because it's a little bit dark on this circuit. And I'm just going to up that exposure a touch. So yes, cars with a high top speed are going to do quite well here, and that does actually interestingly mean that the likes of the Alfa Romeos, which are a fantastic off the line, may actually struggle a little bit here compared to the BMW speed. I think ironically the Volvo as well has really good top speed, But I think it's going to be the BMWs which are the ones to watch here. As you can see, Akshik on a 145.393 compared to our championship leader Andrew on a 145.396. So not a massive amount in it, I must say, but it does show that the BMWs have got the competitive potential here for the racing today. Now, what I've observed from the practice sessions is the kind of sections of this track which are a bit narrower do present a really nice opportunity for these cars to go sailing off into the grass, and that means a couple of things. One, you're likely to see the odd car in this race go off into the grass and then hopefully rejoin safely, but it also means that you're not going to see kind of those collisions that we would have seen at the earlier circuits where, you know, there's no runoff at all and you're straight into a wall, and that can present all kinds of issues. So hopefully we should be getting some good racing here today, and hopefully some good battles between the drivers who have made it to the track today. So as I mentioned earlier on, if you are watching on Twitch, you can use the new channel point redeem thingies. So you've got the heli cam, you've got the cockpit cam, you've got the rear wing cam, and if I put the heli cam on now, I'll give you an idea of what that looks like. So it's like a top-down view. Quite interesting for watching the racing, especially at the beginning of the race. And when you redeem these, they'll be on for 2 minutes before they revert to being off. So let's see if we've had any more drivers joining us so far. Nope, still just the 9, I think it looks like. Which is a shame when you put a lot of effort into organising these things and not everyone can make it. But we'll persevere with what we have. This might actually be a good opportunity to look at that heli cam as the Alfa Romeo from what looks like Sketty is coming up behind Akshik. What I'm personally hoping for is a good battle between the likes of Red and Andrew today. Forrest McCormack also in there with the runnings as well. 145, 138. Andrew on a 145.029, so he might actually be proving my theory wrong that the Alphas might not be the fastest car here today. He's running, of course, with 84 kilograms of ballast, and it just doesn't seem to have been able to take the edge off of Andrew's times thus far. Okay, I'm actually just going to go ahead and just make a few changes because I need to add the audio into the other views. There we go, hopefully that's all working properly now. There we go. So 7 minutes left of qualifying, and then we're going to get into our first of our 2 races. Of course, the format is, as always in this league, except for the last round, which I'll get to in a second, 2 20-minute races back to back, with the first race being dictated by qualifying and the second race being dictated by the finishing positions of the first race. And there's of course like an hour and 10 of practice at the beginning and then 20 minutes of qualifying, which we're in right now. So buckle up for 2 exciting races of DTM 90s era gorgeousness coming your way. Now, as always, I'll have the ability, if I deem it required, to red flag a race and restart the session if there's a big incident in the first lap. I'm hoping, though, with 9 cars, one of the things that I won't have to do is worry too much about a lot of contact, because you usually when you have a full grid, the risk of contact increases. But I think the layout we've got here today should mean that the track isn't conducive to a big pile up. And secondly, there's a lot less cars on the track to worry about, so hopefully everyone gets through nice and cleanly. So just 5 minutes to go. What I'll go ahead and do is I'll set up a prediction as well for who will win the first race. Because for once we actually have enough drivers that we can fit them all into the list. Usually it's a maximum of 10, which means I can't put them all in, but this time another silver lining is that we can fit everyone in. And there's Akshik driving into a wall. Okay, there you go. Prediction is now live. You've got 5 minutes to select who you think will win the first race. Let's go take a look at Forrest McCormack, who is in P2 at the moment with a 1:45.138. And he is running those curbs like a true DTM master. If you've ever watched any of the real footage of DTM cars racing back in the 90s, they absolutely despised their suspension by the looks of it, because they were willing to drive their cars over a curb that no one should drive over at 30 miles an hour, let alone at whatever speed that they were going, and absolutely hammering their cars over sausage curbs and the like. So Forrest McCormack sending it round the taxiways. Box, thank you for redeeming the cockpit cam. Nice to see that's actually all working correctly. Hope you're doing well. It's quite a clever plugin actually. Someone's written this add-in for OBS, which actually you can extract the textures from Assetto Corsa. So you, even though I'm only running one session of AC, it's producing both pictures into OBS for the stream, which is really clever. And it can do multiple at the same time, but I've only got it set up to do one at a time. And if multiple people claim the camera thing at the same time, it will just queue them. So it will wait until the first one's finished and then switch over to the next camera that's been selected. Oh, Forrest McCormack absolutely riding the curb there, and paid the price dearly as he went off the track. But he has cracked the 1:44 time, and he's now into the 1:44.887 territory, which puts him well ahead of Mr. Andrew Shaw. Hey Neo, how's it going? Let's go back to Ash, who's out on track at the moment. One thing I've noticed with the OBS plugin is that you can see it gets the textures for the cockpits a little bit odd sometimes. So it seems to flip between a high quality texture and then a low quality texture. Yes, Neo, unfortunately low attendance, only 9 today, which is sad. But Box, if you got 5,000, then yeah, you could be controlling the cameras for some time. There we go, so that's the 2 minutes of cockpit cam turned off now. Heli cam's quite cool. There's also one which is kind of looking over the rear wing, which is nice. If the battles are going on and you want to see whether the car behind is on track for overtaking, then you can use that. I wouldn't spend all of your points though, because in the future we will be enabling a functionality for Syndicate Motorsport called the Championship Manager, which allows you to run a virtual racing team across multiple championships that we run here at Syndicate. And I do have the plan and the ability to allow channel points to be redeemed to contribute to your favourite team. So don't blow them all if you want to hold some back for that in the future, but that's a feature we haven't enabled yet. So Ash going for a quicker time here. He's I was going to say up on his time, but the timing board has got all messed up again, and it's now saying he's 2 minutes ahead of schedule on this lap, which is difficult given the laps are not 2 minutes long. But here comes Ash, he's the last across the line. Aliens turned on cockpit cam as well. You can see Ash going through the chicanes from the external and the internal view. Well, no, Akshik, you know this camera thing at the bottom left? The car that you're in dictates where the camera in the car you're observing is located. So you can see that right now it's slightly, you know, not the perfect location for a cockpit camera because it's basically set up for a 190E. And when you're in the van, the cameras are basically in the footwell, so you can't see anything. So I had to switch back to a proper car to do that. But I'll write to the author of the plugin and see if they can explain how I can compensate for that that camera misalignment. But there we go. Qualifying has concluded, and don't forget to make a prediction, guys. We've got the first race coming up, and there's a minute or two left on calling who's going to win that race. Forrest McCormack, of course, on pole at the moment. He's beaten our championship leader Andrew Shaw by a few tenths there. Akashik in third place as well with a 1:45.393, so Akashik's about 3 tenths off the pace, but he's been doing some practice today. Yeah, my favourite one's the helicopter camera. I think that'd be quite cool for the beginning of the race. So there we go. I'll just quickly just so you don't have to spend points to see it. If you use the helicopter camera, then you get this top-down view, which is quite cool, and then you can see the grid getting set up there. If I set this to Andrew as the spectator point, it gives me at least an opportunity to see what's going on from the top-down view as well. But there you go. Our front line consists of Forrest McCormack. And then in the foreground, in the red and black Alpha, you've got Andrew Shaw. And then Akshik is the green little car. followed by Ash in the other Alpha. And as we know, the Alphas get a massively good start here, and you can see that Ash and Andrew are behind each other. So they should actually just have no problem whizzing off in a straight line, while the BMWs on the right hand side are actually fortuitously out of the way. Yes, Alpha's secret rotating wheels, that is the secret to their success. So here we go. Lights are up, engines are revving. And away we go. Alpha's off to a cracking start. As in the background you can see the other Alphas piling into the middle lane, looking to get through the pack early on. Andrew's off for a great start as predicted, with Marju in close second, and then you've got Forrest McCormack and Ash dropping back a little bit as they come through the first of the chicanes. And looks like everyone's got through relatively cleanly, with Andrew, Marju and Ash all leading into the early stages of the race in P1 through 3. But let's see what Forrest McCormack can do in P4, because he is the one that we want to watch here, and now would be a good time to enable cockpit cam to see how things look on the front row seat. Forrest McCormack looking for a first opportunity here to overtake one of the Alphas as they come round, and looks like Ash went slightly wide there, catching a little bit of grass which might have slowed him down a little bit. But here you go, cockpit cam has been enabled, and you can see from Forrest McCormack's point of view just how close behind this Alpha he is getting, as Akashik as well joining in the fray from behind. I've just switched to actually no, sorry, I stand corrected. It's actually Red who's now going toe to toe with Forrest McCormack's BMW as they hunt down the Alfa Romeos, and we're watching from Red's point of view. I'm not sure what happened to Akashik, because he was third in qualifying but is now down in 7th place. Ooh, Forrest McCormack getting caught on a curb there, and I think he rode that a little bit too hard. Let's hope he doesn't give up. Looks like Sketty on the rear end of Red at the moment. If I go to his view, you can see just how close he is now with that cockpit camera. But Sketty's 0.1 of a second behind Red as they come down to the next chicane. I think that's actually just going round the first chicane once again. And Sketty keeping the pressure on Red here, as Red and Akashik. Ooh, a little bit of a punt there for Red as Sketty catches the rear end of Red, and Red gets back onto the track just ahead of Retrolux. So a little bit of work now for Red to do to come back from that one. Let's go for the time being though and stay with these guys, as Retrolux in the 190E is in hot pursuit. So let's go to Andrew now and see how things look from his point of view. RC's box has enabled the rear view camera, and you can see Marju now taking a sniff down the inside, but thinking about it again as they come through the chicanes. Andrew catching a bit of curb there. It's actually allowing Marju to get alongside, and you get to see that from all angles now. Into the braking zone they go, and it's Marju on the inside line, manages to sneak on through. Let's go to his point of view now, and you can see Andrew in the background as they come down the start-finish straight once more into the first chicane. This time Andrew catching a little bit of grass in the rear view mirror there, but managing to stay on track. Andrew smoking up the tyres as they come through into the right-hander. Indeed, Forrest McCormack 4.4 seconds behind now. Let's go to the middle of the field now, where we've got Akashik, Red and Sketty. Ooh, and Red's gone off the track. He got a little bit caught on the grass there, which is easily done in that corner. And that actually drops him back down to P6, with Sketty moving up to P5. Ooh, and Red has overcooked it in the background. He's going to really lit up his tyres there. And it's probably worth mentioning that, as per usual, yeah, Red is driving on the soft compound tyre, as is Forrest McCormack, and so is Marju, actually, interestingly. So bad news for Red. He's now dead last on tyres which are probably absolutely overheated. And he's going to struggle to get those cooled down. He's off onto the grass once again. Forrest McCormack in 8th place now, but is catching up with Retrolux. Meanwhile, Marju's broken out a 1 second lead at the front after 5 minutes or 6 minutes of racing time, and that means that Andrew might be in jeopardy of not winning this race. So here we go with Akashik and Sketty, and yeah, I think only one Merc today, which is Retrolux. I don't know where everyone is. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on Helicam, just because we get to see a little bit of what's going on with Sketty as he tries to catch up with Akashik. Let's see what he's got in store for us. He's not actually close enough to see Akashik just yet. Let's see if he can rectify that. So, 13 minutes left on the clock. Andrew is 5.7 seconds behind Marju, so Marju's absolutely storming ahead at the moment. Here he is. In the background you can see Andrew riding a curb like a champ, and Ash in 3rd place. So it's a 3 alpha run for the podium right now, so completely putting my logic that the BMWs might be stronger here in the bin. Ooh, but there's Forrest McCormack and Retrolux jostling for position, and Mercedes holding on at the moment. It looks like Forrest McCormack's got a slightly stronger run out of the final corner, so run down the start-finish straight to the first chicane. And the top-down camera doing a nice job of just showing how close these guys are. And looks like Retrolux just loses out a little bit there in the chicane, locking up the tyres potentially. In the background you can see Red reappearing. Let's go to Akashik and Sketty, who are 0.3 of a second apart. I think 0.3 is about the max extent you can be before you can't see them on the top-down camera. But Akashik is getting closer to Ashavi, 0.7 of a second. We'll keep an eye on that split to see how things go. So Akashik 0.5 of a second behind Ashavi now, so getting closer. And Sketty is taking the slipstream here as well. Hey Carlova, good to see you. I'm good, thank you. We're just watching a little bit of DTM racing here at the mighty Aerodrome, but unfortunately only 9 drivers today. Ooh, Sketty in the background has taken a ride into the barrier there. Oh, plenty of time to catch race number 2, Carlova. It's quite a fun track actually. We'll have to do it again. Oh, look at that. We've got Retrolux and Red fighting for position further down. But let's stick with Akshik and Ashavi as they come through the chicanes. And oh my god, Ash got all 4 wheels off the ground there. Gonna have to grab a screenshot of that one. Sounds good, Culliver. Hope you had a good time. So, half race distance has now been concluded, and Akashik has worked his way back up to the to the podium for the time being, provisionally. Yeah, that was quite a bit of air, wasn't it, for Ash? Forrest McCormack's up to P7 again, hunting down Sketty. And Forrest has probably got his tyres under control at this point. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the rear camera. Where you can see Forrest McCormack starting to pull alongside. Some of that BMW speed coming into power there. And looks like Sketty is now dropping down to P7 as Forrest McCormack works his way back up the grid to the midfield. In the background you can see Red and Retrolux. Carl, just your reference, the cockpit cameras and things like that, they have a 2-minute timer. So once this one finishes, your 2-minute timer for the cockpit camera will switch on. So just bear with. Sketty again, catching a lot of air on the curbs there, coming through the first chicane. Smoke pouring out of Sketty's tyres as he locks up in the corners. And let's go to Forrest McCormack, who's just overtaken Alien. And perfect timing for the rear view camera to kick in, because you can see Alien in the background starting to disappear. Behind Alien as well, you can see Sketty as well on the rear view camera as he mounts and yet another curve. Yeah, the curb riding is real here today at the aerodrome. Very DTM. You can see him doing it again in the background, and also Red catching a bit of curb there as well. So Margie's 2.7 seconds behind Andrew. Andrew's back on the top spot, has been for a little bit of time now. 7 minutes left on the race though. Let's see whether Margie can work his magic and get past again. Yeah, the cockpit camera seems to flicker between 2 different qualities of texture, and the positioning of the cockpit is a bit weird because it's depending on the car that you're driving, not the car you're observing. I'll see if I can get the author to do anything about that. It's an OBS plugin. We've got Alien and Red going toe to toe. Let's go on board with Red, where you can see the cockpit camera a little bit more clearly, and the battle unfolds. Red looking for an angle down the left-hand side. Yeah, the positioning of the cockpit is tricky. I could actually, in theory, switch the camera type to T-cam, or you can have this camera or this one. We've also got this camera, which is one I was using before. But again, you can't really control where the placement inside the car is. It faced more towards the driver. Well, there is a camera which does that actually, but you can't really see much of what else is going on. As you can see this one here. That may be not particularly useful for seeing what's going on. We could try this one here. Let me just re-enable that then. There is this version, but it does seem to flicker the lighting a little bit. So 4.5 minutes of the first race left on the clock, and at the moment Akashik is 0.6 of a, or 0.5 of a second, I stand corrected, behind Ashavi, and Red is 0.3 of a second behind Sketty. So, ooh, and Sketty's off into the grass and doing well not to crash into a wall, but that's put Red right up into P6. Let's stick with Ash and Akashik though, because Akashik's taking a little run down the right-hand side here. Oh, that is bad news for Ash and Akashik. They've absolutely destroyed one another, and that's let Forrest McCormack get through. Akashik down into 7th place with Red up to 5th now. Red did really well after that incident, as has Alien. Akashik just destroyed himself and Ash in a chicane, so he's lost a lot of positions on the back of that. So 3 minutes left to go. I wonder how the tyres on the soft compound are handling the track at the moment, because we've seen both Forrest McCormack and Red cook their tyres pretty hard, and they may have a little bit of grip issues starting to creep in. Akashik in P7, but let's take a little moment to go and enjoy the battle at the front, where Marju has started to get close again to Andrew. There's only 2.5 minutes left in this race, and Margie's got the best shot here of anyone to dethrone Andrew from the first spot in this race. Let's see what he's got in store for us. He's only 0.1 of a second behind now. Goes for the inside line into the right-hander here. It's a clean move, and he's put himself just ahead of Andrew as Andrew comes down the start-finish straight here side by side with Marju. If that was on the final lap, that would have been an absolutely amazing finish. But now dodging back and forth as Andrew tries to find a way through. And through to the first chicane they go. Who's going to ride the curbs? No one. And they get through nice and clean. So Andrew 0.4 of a second behind now. Again, Andrew cooking the rear tyres there as he gets puffs of smoke coming off as the wheels lock up. Both drivers riding a little bit too much grass there as they come round down the taxiway. And this time it's Andrew on the back foot this time with 1 minute left on the clock. I think Margie's been just sitting and chilling, waiting for this moment at the last closing stages of the race to make the moves. I can see further down that Red is getting close to Sketty as well, but we're going to stick with the leaders here. So keep an eye on that, because I think Sketty's going to maybe lose a position here. Let's quickly go and take a look at that. Because here comes Red, looking for a nice line down the inside. Tucks it in. It hasn't quite managed to get that to stick yet. And it's Sketty off the track once again. Makes it easy for Red to get through. Let's go back to Marju. 24 seconds left on the clock. Andrew pushing hard now, locking up the rear wheels once again as they come around the final corner, I think this is. But I think Marju's a little bit ahead of schedule. He's going to have to go round one more lap. And there's Sketty just getting through again, back to P7. Last lap now, Andrew's 1.4 behind, so we're going to go back and check out Sketty versus Red on the last lap here. And Red is trying to make a move work before the chicane. Will he get there in time? I think he's going to be just in the right position, but they're going... Ooh! That's why you can't get two cars through a chicane in one go. And Sketty took a big bit of air there. I think he's slowing down to let Red past again. But that's definitely impacted both drivers at the closing stage of the race there. So definitely one to watch for those chicanes. Here we go, Marju is on track here to finish this race in first spot. And he's just about to round that final corner. He's 0.7 or 0.07 ahead of his best lap time, and there's Marju in first place. Andrew takes P2, and Forrest McCormack in for a solid third, despite almost being in the back of the grid for this race. So Ash picking up fourth place. Akashik takes fifth. Alien gets a solid P6. Yeah, chicanes are to be respected. Oh look, Red's just managed to get back to P7. And Retrolux just losing out one position there at the end. But then Retrolux has picked up some points because there's less than 10 drivers, so everyone's getting points basically. Oh, there's Red into the wall. I think Red's just flooring it right now. Actually, no, it's not. It's just it's a graphics issue because his engine's not actually revving. Imagine being in this position, Akajik just chilling there with his teammate, snuggles up to him after a successful race here at the aerodrome. So coming up shortly, race number 2, and that's going to be reverse. Well, sorry, based on the finishing positions you see here. So it's going to be Marju, Andrew, Forrest McCormack, Ash, Akashik, Alien, Quentin, Retrolux, and Sketty. And because Marju and Andrew are in Alfa Romeos, they're going to absolutely fly off the line, as will Ash, and it'll be down to Forrest McCormack and Akashik to try and keep up. So let's go ahead and call out the prediction. So if you voted for Andrew, you have not won, because it's Marju who takes the top spot for our first race. And Akshik, that is one hell of a crash you had there. Oof, indeed. I think oof is the understatement of the year for that one. And Akshik, a shout out from Blackhawk, who is watching the stream. And if you remember, many moons ago, racing with Blackhawk. Back in the early days of Syndicate. So, despite there only being 9 cars in today's race, they did manage to find some way to make contact, mostly because of an Alfa Romeo flying through the air with no wheels in contact with the tarmac, having just launched off a curb, and then ploughing into the side of an unsuspecting BMW. So we'll be kicking off the second race very shortly. So stick around for race number 2. Hopefully we can get an extra couple of drivers in. At 1 minute 20 seconds to go. Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Neo. That was a very DTM race. The funny thing is about DTM racing is because in real life it's actually more chaotic than it is in the sim. Usually it's the other way around, but if you look at any of the DTM racing from the 90s and even later, it is just wheel to wheel, door rubbing. It's brutal, and that's what made it so fun. Here we go. So 10 seconds left on the clock. Race number 2 about to kick off. And away we go as the guys head down to the first chicane. And it's Marju out in front with Andrew in P2, Ash up into P3 as predicted. Forrest McCormack splitting Alien and Ash. And Red's done well actually to get up to P6 there. Through the first chicane they go. And so far Andrew and Marju looking pretty solid. Let's go back down to Alien, however, who's leading the remainder of the pack. And we've got the 2 BMWs driven by Red and Akshik. Red just a little bit in the inside there, actually taking the opportunity to sneak on through with a few positions. Akshik, on the other hand, looked like he was about to make a really good move there, but somehow lost out and ended up on the grass. And now we've got the Mercedes and the 2 Alphas cracking on down the taxiway here, following in behind the BMW. And Retrolux with a little chance here on the inside as he tries to find a way through the 2 Alphas in front, and Alien getting very sideways in the Alpha there. I think he's taken a little trip off into the grass. Not quite, but he's actually got got Retrolux alongside now. And Retrolux moved up to P7 with Akashik hot on the heels of Alien now. So in the P8, P9 position, Akashik on the inside now on the run down to the right-hander. Akshik tries to make a double overtake. He catches a curb, and that was a very ballsy move. He somehow made it through that in one piece. I don't know how he quite managed that, but he was on two wheels at one moment there. That was very DTM. So Alien down in P9 now, but still in with a shot here against Retrolux. 3 minutes race time has passed already, and it's still Akshik in P7 with Red up in P5. Let's go and have a look at how things are looking for Ashavi and Red at the moment. Very nice livery for Ashavi. He's taken the Marlborough livery and made it white and gold, which is quite cool. And Ash is actually catching up with Forrest McCormack at this very moment in time. Forrest McCormack now potentially under pressure. Come through the chicane, you've got Red, Ash and Forrest McCormack forming a little bit of a train. In the background you can see Sketty getting caught out again. He's now off into the weeds. Coming back with a very bouncy rejoin. But Forrest McCormack stays in third place for the time being. Come down and start-finish straight as they head down to the first chicane. In the background you can see Ash and Red, with Akshik now in 6th place, just behind his teammate. Again, that first chicane really catching all the drivers out here. Very much a curb to be reckoned with there. Bit of a smoke screen for Forrest McCormack to drive through there. Let's go back to Retrolux though, who's got Sketty bearing down on him. And Retrolux getting very sideways there, which has allowed Sketty to get alongside. And they're now going toe-to-toe down the taxiway with Sketty now just ahead of the Mercedes. Again, both drivers catching quite a bit of grass there, but you can see Retrolux using everything he's got here to try and squeeze Sketty into a mistake. Will he be rewarded with that mistake very soon? Sketty again catching that curb. That's very unsettling for the car. And down the main runway they go. Yeah, the Merc is suffering today. But there we go. I think mistake there for Retrolux has put him down 2.3 seconds. Meanwhile, Forrest McCormack still sits in third. Marju out in front with Andrew still 1.5 seconds behind. Again, not really surprised that Marju was able to get more performance out of the Alpha here today, because he's carrying a lot less weight but driving a very similar car. And Marju and Andrew are very quick drivers. Both are gold rated drivers in the ELO Championship. So all that extra weight that Andrew's carrying is going to be causing a little bit of a performance issue. Got Alien now, adding a bit of pressure to Retrolux. 0.2 of a second behind as they come down the taxiway. But Sketty seems to have been lighting up the rear tyres again. Alien 0.5 of a second behind Retrolux at the moment. And Retrolux very much isn't out of the woods just yet. As our only Merc representative today. I'm willing him on from the commentary box here. But he's got through one position there. Sketty again catching himself out in these chicanes. He's really not having a good day with those chicanes today, is Sketty. But Retrolux managing to hold on to P7 for the time being. But here comes Alien side by side as they come down to the first chicane. Bring up the helicam for this because this is where you can see how it should be done, which is you let the car who's ahead of you go through the chicane first and therefore you don't risk dying. But unfortunately the gentlemanly driving which we saw just then was not applied earlier on this race. Yeah, Neo, there's only 2 more rounds left after this one. Well, I think we'll have to definitely have another season of this. And we'll have to slot that in the future. But I think we're going to be going for something a little bit more modern for the next league. But I am very glad we've done the DTM League now. There we go, Retrolux in P8 as the Alpha from Alien slid through. Again, Alien catching a lot of curb there, but that's going to make things a little bit easier for Retrolux, is that they now do a drag race down the main strip. And will Retrolux be able to turn this into an overtake? He's gone through, Alien's dropped back a little bit. Here comes the right-left. And Retrolux is still in the front position. You can see Alien though is in the slipstream, and that's going to mean a risky position for Retrolux. Alien taking a very liberal line through the cones there, but Retrolux has dropped down to P8. See Alien lighting up the tyres there, but unfortunately Retrolux not in a position there to take advantage of that mistake, and still remains 1.6 seconds behind his main contender here. Let's get back to Red in P4, 2.1 seconds behind Forrest McCormack. Just going to check on the tyre situation. Marju still on soft compound, Forrest McCormack on softs, Ashavi on softs, and Quentin on softs. So they've stuck to their guns with the soft compound there. I might need to change the cockpit camera to one of the other types of camera, just because they haven't quite managed to get the internals to work properly, it seems. So, just under 9 minutes of racing time remaining, and Red is still cracking on in P4. But it's Marju and Andrew where the action may be. Andrew in the background catching a little bit of grass there. 1.4 seconds separating these two. Marju obviously won the last race. Let's see whether he can take the second race to the same result. and get some much needed points for the championship. Current standings tell me that Margie's in 3rd place with 118 points, so he's in with a shot here of actually getting up to P2 following this race. Yeah, side camera's an option. Let me just chuck that one on. I think it's this one. It's a little bit hard to see what's going on though. There is a chase camera though, which is quite cool. We could use this one, which might be good for some of the battles. I'll just re-enable that so you can spend a bit more time looking at that. Let me know if that's going to be an option. It's kind of cool because you actually get a little bit more of a view of what's happening closer to the action, but equally it would work on any car because I think the internal cameras are where this little kind of gizmo doesn't quite work properly, but the external cameras seem to work pretty well. So Sketty in P9 is now over a lap down. There are only 6.5 minutes left to go. So Margie still leading with a nice comfortable 1.6 second lead over Andrew, who is struggling to maintain the same level of pace. Let's go back to Forrest McCormack though, because Forrest McCormack has now got Quentin closing in to almost sub 1 second territory. Ooh, and Forrest catches a lot of curb there coming through the first chicane. Red just drifting it round the corner there. I thought he was in with a shot of catching up there, but he's just drifted his way back down 2 seconds. But now, actually, critically, that puts him under some pressure from Ash here. So let's go ahead and try that camera again, just see what this looks like for the battles. Ash catching a little bit of grass there, but manages to recover. Big burst of flame coming off the Alpha, and there's Red again, catching a little bit too much sideways action and sliding. So Red not having the best of times here. Not all of it down to contact either. I think he struggled a little bit in his own race to keep the car under full control. And again, catching a little bit too much curb, gets the car really unsettled. I think his tyres are probably screaming from the heat now, as he's really got those tyres cooked. Yeah, Andrew's having a bit of a tough time here. He's now in 3rd place, having been overtaken by Forrest McCormack. He's 0.4 of a second off his lap. With 2 more rounds to go, I don't think Marju's got enough time to gather enough points unless Andrew completely ducked out of every race, but it could be quite interesting how close Marju is going to get, especially if Andrew suffers on points today in this race. Two and a half minutes to go. You can see how long Andrew locked that rear tyre there going into that corner. That was quite the lock-up. Yeah, I was looking into replay functionality, Neo. I have done it before, but I need to just remember how I set it up, because I used to have that for the Super GT League, where you could trigger a replay. Just 1 more minute to go, and then we'll see the second race come to an end. But Andrew isn't getting a lot closer to Forrest McCormack, and I think that means that Forrest is going to pick up a really solid P2 here, which is going to be great news for his points. Red and Akshik, on the other hand, contrary to my predictions, have suffered in the BMWs. Look at that lock-up that Andrew's bringing into that corner. It's like it's locked up for a good few car lengths there. I'm sure that's not going to be healthy for his tyre, but last 10 seconds to go. So we'll be on the last lap very shortly. Well, we are on the last lap. It will just say it's on the last lap very shortly. Andrew catching a little bit of grass through the first chicane. And there we go, last lap is now official. Marju in first place here. Oh, I hate that feeling. Like when you walk into another room and realise you have no idea why you've gone there. And Marju navigates the chicane. You know what I could do actually? I could set it up, if I can work out how to do this, so that when I go to the inside camera, it makes the little camera at the bottom left of the screen the external camera. And that way you can always see what's going on externally, and we'll have a good, decent internal camera for the cockpit camera. I'll have to see if I can get that sorted out. But there you go, Marju wins race number 2 with Forrest McCormack coming in with a solid P2. Andrew takes the 3rd spot, but still on the podium. Ash grabs another P4, and Red catches a 5th place again, so still points. And into the wall Red goes. Hope he's not doing that in VR. Here comes Akshik in P6. And in the background you can see Alien, followed by Retrolux. And Sketty once again catching a lot of curb. Alien grabs P7. Here comes Retrolux. And Sketty picks up the last spot in P9. So, going to very quickly do a short set of interviews. And we'll change up the format. We'll do it one at a time this time. I've been bringing everyone up in trios before. I'm going to go back to my old format, I think, of just doing one at a time. So here's Margie. We'll take Margie first.
Take me. Oh, hello.
Hey Margie, how's it going?
Really decent. Just hanging out, you know, by my fan on my sim rig.
Well, yeah, it's certainly a little bit warm here as well. So tell me about the race though. How did that go for you today? Double win for you today. In the first race, were you waiting for your moment to strike on Andrew, or was that a kind of a last-ditch bit of luck that came your way?
Well, I think like mid-race, I did a few mistakes, and then I just started getting my act together, and I was like, holy hell, I'm actually gaining on Andrew. And yeah, I don't know what happened with Andrew.
Yeah, I think he ran out
Fell
of pace a little bit, but we'll talk to him in a second. So I don't know exactly what this has done for your standings in the championship, but it's definitely going to have helped. A double win is always helpful. Tell me about the tyre compound. You went for softs in the second race, but mediums in the first?
Nope, softs for both races.
Ah, okay. And did they last?
Well, yeah, they were in the yellow by like 4 laps remaining, or 5 or something, or maybe halfway through they were on the yellow, but I don't know, there wasn't much sliding to be done on that track, because the alpha is kind of weird on some corners. It really wants you to slide the back to make it turn, but this one you could keep the tire heat pretty good, because there was a lot of straights and some fast corners, so not a lot of heat for the soft tire compound. So
okay, that's good. And the curbs. Let's talk about the curbs. I saw a few alphas, launching for the moon off the curbs. Did you struggle with those at all today?
Well, during my half an hour of practice I did for this track today, so yeah, I had a lot of like launching, but I don't know, I somehow found the lines during the race, and just gotta focus on getting good exits, because it's always another straight after those curbs, so don't like push a lot for those corners. Just focus on getting the good exits.
Sounds like good advice. I think a few other drivers could have done with taking that advice before deciding to do like a too wide into a chicane. But anyway, what's your thoughts on the remaining 2 rounds of the championship? We've got 2 more rounds to go, one of which is the Nordschleife. But next up, we are heading over to Zandvoort. So how are you feeling for the last 2 rounds?
I don't know. Sounds exotic, but Nordschleife. I guess I know the track, but I'm not really like fast on it. But I'm guessing it will be fun though.
Certainly will be interesting in these cars, and some curbs to ride there as well. But okay, Margie, thank you.
Hope to get more players than 10 drivers for Nordschleife though.
I know, it's a really bad luck today actually. We've been averaging around 20 something for each race, which is good. I don't know what's happened today though. At least everyone wins points today though, so
yeah.
That's a silver lining. But anyway, thanks, Margie. I will catch you next time. Congratulations again on the double win,
Yep.
and I'll bring Andrew up now.
Thank you. See you.
Mr. Shaw,
What up?
how's it going today?
It's pretty shit. I was pretty bad.
Talk me through it. Did you what was going on with your race today? You picked up a P2 and a P3.
Whether it be ballast, setup, or talent, Margie was just faster than me in both races, so I don't think I was going to beat him regardless. But other than being generally slow, I was also making a ton of mistakes, which was very frustrating.
Yeah, I saw your wheels locking up significantly into some of the corners. Were you struggling under the braking? Like your wheel just was like not moving; it was just completely locked going in.
That's the braking ain't too bad. Like locking the tires, I do that pretty much every corner. I'm not trying to; it just happens, and it doesn't hamper me too much. But I think my main issue was the chicanes. I was hemorrhaging time to Margie in both chicanes. He was just much better than I was through there.
Yeah, I think he was taking a wise strategy of trying to get good exits on the chicanes, which definitely helps on this track, it seems. But yeah, I mean, is it the obvious elephant in the room is the elephant of ballast that you have added to your car. So you've got 84 to, I think, to his 30 something or whatever it is. Let me just bring that up quickly. So Margie's on 37 and you're on 84 kilos. So I mean, that's going to be doing something, isn't it?
It will be, yeah, but I can't blame the ballast for turning in too early and clipping the inside curb, which I did plenty of times anyway, so...
True, we'll just blame that on being from Norfolk then.
Yeah.
Cool, okay, so how are you feeling about the next 2 rounds then?
What is it? Zandvoort?
Yeah, you got Zandvoort next, and then the finishing up at the hour of Nordschleife.
Zandvoort's going to be horrible in the Alpha, and Nordschleife probably will be as well, but it's the Nordschleife, so I don't care.
Well, Margie was saying that he's not very familiar with the Nordschleife, so I think that might be a little bit of an advantage for you there.
No, he's lying. He's done plenty of Nordschleife laps. I've driven plenty of Nordschleife laps with him. He knows what he's doing.
Fair enough. Well, I don't think you're at risk of losing your top spot in the championship. Given that you actually turn up for the races, but there's
honestly, I could probably skip the next 2 and probably still win.
Probably, but I hope you don't. But no, it's the fight for P2, I think, which is getting interesting now.
Margie's just overtaken Rose.
Yes, based on the drop rounds, yes. So we'll see how things pan out. But Michael still in P4 with a pretty solid position despite not being here for this round. But yeah, we'll see how things go for the remainder of the league.
Yes.
Cool. Right, well, thank you for the interview. I thought I'd keep these ones short, and since no one else has turned up for the interviews, then I will leave it there. But congratulations again on your podiums, and look forward to seeing you next round at Zandvoort.
Yeah, see you later, mate.
Catch you later, mate. Okay guys, thank you for your attendance in the stream today. Hope you enjoyed yourselves, and hopefully we'll get a few more people turning up next time and get back to our normal kind of levels of attendance in this league, which would be good fun for both me and everyone else driving. But I should wish you all a very good evening, and I'll catch you all again on the next one.